Indeed, stop the Nazi games. Stop the wars. Hallo allemaal, daar zijn we er weer. RHTV Live. En natuurlijk hebben we het over politiek, zowel binnen als buitenland. We streamen live vanuit het mooie Maastricht. Ja, dat ligt in het zuiden des lands. So we are streaming live from Maastricht, which is in the south of the Netherlands. And of course, we're going to talk geopolitics and politics within and outside of the Netherlands. So, first of all, we're going to show Pepijn van Houwelingen from the FVD, who asks the Minister of Defense if Dutch people have to go to Ukraine, right? Because there's a war in Ukraine. So we're going to take a look at that, and we're also going to comment on what's being said. Ja mensen, we gaan even naar Pepijn van Houwelingen kijken van de FVD. Die vraagt dus, moeten Nederlandse dienstplichtigen naar Oekraïne? Ja. Hier kunnen we het zien. Moeten Nederlandse dienstplichtigen naar Oekraïne? Van Houwelingen, FVD in defensiedebat. So, should Dutch military go to Ukraine? Van Houwelingen, FVD in defense debate. Right? And we're going to take a listen to this here.
Dank u, voorzitter. We bespreken vandaag de begroting van het ministerie van Defensie. En het valt me zwaar, maar het moet me van het hart dat die term defensie steeds minder van toepassing lijkt te zijn op het betreffende ministerie. Want lopende aan de leiband van de NAVO is Nederland steeds meer oorlogspolitiek gaan voeren. Het transatlantisch bondgenootschap is nauwelijks meer een defensieve alliantie te noemen, maar eerder een offensieve. Steeds verder rukte men op richting het oosten. Om tot slot via een staatsgreep in Oekraïne in 2014, een gewelddadige staatsgreep, een oorlog met Rusland onvermijdelijk te maken.
So basically he's already criticizing NATO, saying it's not defensive but offensive. They're attacking countries such as, Libya, Afghanistan, and other countries. And now they're so-called helping Ukraine.
Probeerde te voorkomen dat deze oorlog er zou komen, markeerde de start van Forum voor Democratie als politieke partij. We streden in het referendum van 2016 immers tegen het omstreden associatieverdrag, dat feitelijk toetreding van Oekraïne tot de EU en de NAVO inhield. En dat
in 2016 we had a referendum, which also was the start of the Forum for Democracy party, right? And this is why they joined politics, Thierry Baudet and some other prominent people here in the Netherlands had a referendum fixed about Ukraine. The trade association we said no to, and this is basically the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Mark Rutte, which is a demissionary Prime Minister, but still Prime Minister, made from a no, we said no to the referendum, into a yes. And Forum for Democracy was warning people about this.
Onherroepelijk zou uitmonden in een militaire reactie van Rusland. 2/3 van de Nederlandse bevolking was het met ons eens. Niet doen. Zo vond destijds bijna 2/3 van de stemmers. Voorzitter.
So 2/3 of the country said, no, we don't want a trade agreement with Ukraine. You know, but we have the prime minister who's a war criminal. And he just said, he made from a no into a yes, right? It's amazing, really is amazing. And the Dutch people do nothing, of course.
Als Nederland nog werkelijk een ministerie van Defensie had gehad van zelfverdediging, dan hadden we toen op dat moment de veiligheid van ons land beschermd, de vrede beschermd, de fragiele status quo beschermd en geluisterd naar de wijze uitspraak van ons volk.
So he's saying if we really had a defense, the defense would be spent in the Netherlands, and you'd actually listen to what the Dutch audience has to say.
Dan hadden we toen gezegd tegen de van Ruslandhaat vervulde Victoria Nuland en Radek Sikorski en anderen, sorry jongens, maar dit gaan we dus echt niet doen. Maar nee, de regering Rutte.
He's talking about Victoria Nuland and stuff like that, and you would say, nope, we're not going to do this. We're not going to support you guys. It's really, really sad to see what's happening in Ukraine. But do the Dutch people have to go to Ukraine? Because Ukraine is losing the war, right?
Sociaal meegaand in de oorlogspolitiek van de neocons en Haveke en Washington negeerde de uitslag van het referendum. Het bombarderen door de regering in Kiev van de Russische minderheden in het oosten van het land, in de Donbassregio, werd verder opgeschroefd. Gezinnen en families werden uiteengereten. Honderden, duizenden burgerslachtoffers vielen. Kiev wist van geen ophouden. Ook de Oekraïners zelf voelden de bui al hangen.
So he's basically talking about Kiev, right? Waging war in the east, in the Donbass, in the autonomous regions, self-proclaimed autonomous regions of the Donbass and Luhansk and other places like Mariupol and stuff, right?
Daarom kozen ze in 2019 een volstrekte nieuwkomer als hun nieuwe president. De outsider Zelensky, die campagne voerde voor neutraliteit, respect voor de Russische minderheden en een coöperatieve houding richting Moskou.
So now he's talking about Zelensky, and people chose for him because he wanted to unify the east and the west of Ukraine. Those were his words, right? Zelensky's words. And people were joyous. People were like, yay, finally, the war is over. The war in the Donbass is over. But no. Zelensky is even worse than Poroshenko.
Oekraïne bleek echt al lang geen soeverein land meer. Het Amerikaanse militair-industrieel complex bleef de spanning verder opvoeren. Oekraïne zwaar bewapenen. En terwijl het Westen ondertussen probeerde om Poetin de indruk te geven uit te zijn op vrede, zoveel is inmiddels toegegeven door onder andere Merkel en Poroshenko over de Minsk-akkoorden, overwoog Amerika begin 2022 om via Oekraïne een groot offensief tegen de Donbass te starten. Er zouden zelfs plannen hebben gelegen om de Krim te heroveren. Poetin besloot als eerste aan te vallen. Zijn doelen waren.
So there was a big offensive on the table, right, to get the east of Ukraine. And Putin said, nope, we're not going to do that. These autonomous regions, Luhansk and Donetsk and Mariupol, asked for our help. We are going to help these autonomous regions within Ukraine. And that's what they're doing.
Defensief, zo benadrukte Poetin steeds. Geen NAVO-lidmaatschap voor Oekraïne. Zoals Amerika ook niet wil dat Rusland. Het is zo logisch. Zo vanzelfsprekend. Zo eenvoudig ook.
So he says it's pretty obvious. America does not want a big Russian base in Mexico or Cuba, right?
Maar nee, de NAVO-agressie bleef maar doorgaan. Inmiddels zijn we meer dan 500.000 doden verder. Jongens en meisjes zoals u en ik. Onschuldige burgers. Het is
500,000 people roughly are dead, and the more dead and more war leads to even more conflict. Right? We don't want that.
Het is overduidelijk dat deze oorlog alleen stopt aan de onderhandelingstafel. Ga praten. Vind een compromis.
So he's talking about a compromise, right? Go to the negotiation table, find a compromise, and stop this war. This is what FVD is being praising for 2+ years.
Het lijkt tegen dovermansoorlog gezegd. Terwijl deze week bekend werd dat inmiddels al voor meer dan 1 miljard aan wapens kwijt is geraakt in Oekraïne. Lees, terechtgekomen is in het criminele circuit. Ook een enorm veiligheidsrisico. Besloot de Europese Unie nog maar eens 50 miljard te sturen. Wat is het einddoel? Is er enig zicht op een oplossing uit deze impasse? Wat verwacht de minister nu eigenlijk? Een uitgelekt rapport van de Duitse...
So he's asking the Minister of Defense, what are you expecting? Are you expecting to get the Crimea back? Are you expecting to get the east of Ukraine back? Not possible. Not possible.
Het ministerie van Defensie, uit dat rapport blijkt dat Duitsland al speculeert op massale mobilisatie van NAVO-soldaten. 300.000 militairen moeten straks misschien te strijden trekken tegen Moskou.
So 300,000 military from NATO countries will maybe fight in Ukraine because Ukraine is losing their military.
Krankzinnig, schandalig. Waarom is dit geen
Insane.
voorpagina nieuws? Waarom gaat iedereen daar zomaar in mee? Onze eigen staatssecretaris wil, met het oog op de Russische dreiging, nu ook Nederlandse jongens en meisjes werven voor het leger. Er wordt gesproken over herinvoering van de dienstplicht. Zijn we nu echt richting?
So over here we used to have the dienstplicht. You know, people were actually, you needed to go to the military and stuff like that. And in the age I grew up, that was not needed anymore. And now they want to reverse that. They want the youth back in the military to fight in Ukraine.
Richting een wereldoorlog aan het slaapwandelen. Wordt deze, in de woorden van minister Ollongren, cheap war, straks doorgevochten met Nederlandse militairen? Voorzitter, al een jaar geleden diende mijn partijleider een motie in waarin wordt opgeroepen om nooit of te nimmer Nederlandse dienstplichtigen te sturen naar Oekraïne. De Kamer stemde daar toen in meerderheid tegen.
So the FVD already has a motion, right, to not to send Dutch people to Ukraine. Yeah, and everyone in Parliament said, "Nah, we're not going to support that." That's a conspiracy theory, man. You know, you're talking weird stuff and blah, blah, blah. Now we have a minister, you know, saying that people have to go back into the army. Right?
De reden zou zijn dat het allemaal niet realistisch was. Dat het nooit zou gebeuren. Dat het weer factory politics was. Maar we zien nu hoe relevant dat juist was. Daarom, voorzitter, zal ik in de tweede termijn opnieuw dezelfde motie indienen. Plus een tweede motie waarin ik de minister oproep om zich in te spannen voor vrede. Dank u wel.
Dank u wel. Voor u vertrekt. Ik zie mevrouw Pots opveren en dan ga ik heel even kijken, want ik denk dat u eigenlijk al door uw interrupties heen was.
So someone is going to ask him a question. Now, listen to this, right? She's going to say, everything that's been said by Pepijn van Houwelingen is Kremlin propaganda. Now, if I would say, right, that Baghdad did not have any weapons of mass destruction, she would say that is Baghdad propaganda. She has nothing to ask.
Ja, dus, en ik heb u al een extra vraag gegeven. Niet? Ik kijk heel eventjes. Niet. Oké, dan heeft u nog één. Dat heb bij een aantal anderen ook gedaan.
Moeilijk. Ah, daar ben ik weer. Ja, voorzitter, u zei, ik zag mevrouw Pot overeind veren. Nou weet ik niet helemaal of ik het zo voel. Ik zat even te luisteren naar de heer Van Houwelingen. En ja, je zou bijna... Want...
By the way, this is a left-leaning politician, right? She doesn't have purple hair or stuff like that, but she is one of those kind of people, you know?
De forum loopt natuurlijk al wat langer rond hier in de Kamer, dus je zou bijna dit normaal gaan vinden. Maar ik heb een paar dingen opgeschreven. Hij had het over de staatsgreep in Oekraïne in 2014. Dat is de letterlijke tekst overigens van de Russen. Kiev wist van geen ophouden. De doelen van de Russen zijn defensief. En hij had het over de NAVO-agressie. Ja, voorzitter, eerlijk gezegd, ik weet niet eens wat voor vraag ik hier over moet stellen. Ik denk dat ik eigenlijk alleen maar kan zeggen dat... Ja,
probeer eens een vraag te stellen. Probeer.
Ik denk dat ik hier...
Eén voor één.
She's like, I don't know what question I should ask. And Pepijn van Houweling is like, try, ask a question. Come on, ask a question.
Eén voor één.
Ik denk dat ik hier alleen maar uit kan concluderen dat Forum voor Democratie, zoals we dat wel vaker hebben gezien, precies eigenlijk gewoon het playbook van Poetin hier staat te herhalen. En ja, je zou bijna denken, nou laat maar gaan, maar ik denk dat het toch goed is om dat af en toe te markeren.
So she's saying the FVD is doing the playbook of Putin, right? She cannot ask a question. She came forward to ask a question and she cannot ask a question. Is that so hard? Is het nou zo moeilijk om een vraag te gaan stellen? Is het nou echt zo moeilijk? Kun je geen vraag stellen? Ja, Pepijn van Houwelingen die heeft het over een coup. Over een coup. Ja, er is een coup gebeurd, ja, in Oekraïne. Ja, in 2014. We hebben de banden van Victoria Nuland samen met Jeffrey Pyatt, die praten over wie de macht moet krijgen in Kiev. Ja. En ik zeg het je, als je dit laat zien aan mensen, dan zeggen zij, dit is Russisch propaganda. Propaganda van de Kremlin. Ga toch weg, man. Je weet niet eens wie Victoria Nuland is. Deze heeft voor de State Department gewerkt onder Obama. Ja? Nu is ze weer terug onder Biden. Weer bij de State Department. Ja? Nou, zij heeft dus gesproken met een Amerikaanse ambassadeur van Oekraïne, Jeffrey Pyatt. Ja. Dit was tijdens de coup. Ja. Een clubje radicale mensen die anti-Russisch zijn, die Russisch gezinde mensen in elkaar schoppen en weet ik wat allemaal, zelfs vermoorden aan toe. Ja. Die mensen, die vechten dus nu in het oosten van Oekraïne. En waarom? Omdat daar allemaal Russisch gezinde Oekraïners zijn. Je hebt te maken met een groepje mensen, die andere mensen in hun eigen land vermoorden. En dat steunen wij als Nederland zijnde. Ja? Nou, hier heb je dus Victoria Nuland en Jeffrey Pyatt in 2014. Die praten over de situatie dat Oekraïne uit elkaar scheurt tussen West en Oost. En ja, ze proberen dat aan elkaar te lijnen. So here we have Victoria Nuland and Jeffrey Pyatt, right? They were instigators of the coup. And, you know, this is why there is a war in Ukraine.
Efforts in Ukraine, the last thing you want to do is drop your guard.
So that would be great, I think, to help glue this thing and have the UN help glue it and, you know, the EU.
But that is exactly what reportedly happened between US Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland and US Ambassador to Ukraine Jeffrey Pyatt. The exchange has since surfaced online, including the crude swipe at the European Union. The audio clip of a woman and man, said to be Newland and Pyatt, hears them discussing strategies to work with the three main opposition figures.
I don't think Cleach should go into the government. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a good idea.
In terms of him not going into the government, just let him sort of stay out and do his political homework and stuff. I'm just thinking in terms of sort of the process moving ahead, we want to keep the moderate Democrats together. The problem is going to be Tony Boak and his guys. And, you know, I'm sure that's part of what Yanukovych is calculating on all of this.
I think Yats is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience. He's the guy, you know, what he needs is Cleach and Tony Book on the outside. He needs to be talking to them 4 times a week, you know. I just think Cleach going in, he's going to be at that level working for Yatsenyuk. It's just not going to work.
There is a suggestion for Newland to contact Klitschko directly to play to his top dog sensibilities, while Newland refers to getting the United Nations involved in a political solution. And that's where the unfortunate comment arises.
I'm obviously not going to comment on private diplomatic conversations.
Oh, you're not going to comment on private diplomatic conversations, huh? But you are going to impeach Trump for making a phone call. You know, this is really, really sad. Dit is echt onvoorstelbaar. Hier heb je dus Amerika die zich bemoeit met Oekraïne, ja, die dus mensen in bepaalde posities zet. Dat zijn radicale Bandera-aanhangers. Ja. We have radical Bandera supporters in Ukraine. Look it up, Joseph Bandera. Right? Look it up, you know. Zoek het op, Joseph Bandera. En je zal zien dat hij gehuldigd wordt als een held in Oekraïne. So this Joseph Bandera guy is a Nazi and he is seen as a hero in Ukraine. Right? This is happening. Victoria Nuland had put radical people in power in Kiev. Right? This is why they're waging a war. This is why Zelensky had said, I'm going to unify Ukraine and blah, blah, blah. That was not his plan. You know, his plan was not to unify Ukraine. Zijn plan was niet om unificatie van Oekraïne. Nee, het ging om oorlog. Yeah. So we know Victoria Nuland, and she also was concerned about biolabs in Ukraine. Right? Ukraine has biological research facilities concerned Russian forces may seek to gain control, U.S. Now this is Victoria Nuland after Donald Trump, and you can see she is a lot grayer and a lot fatter. She has Trump derangement syndrome, and let's take a look at this.
Ukraine has biological research facilities, which in fact we are now quite concerned Russian forces may be seeking to gain control of. So we are working with the Ukrainians on how they can...
Oh, you got biological research facilities like in Wuhan, right? National Institute of Health, right? Yeah, we know what's going on. Anyway, that's one spinning plate, right? Ukraine. We weten wat er gaan is. Er zijn biolaboratoria's in Oekraïne waar ze virussen maken. En god weet jij wat ze allemaal maken zijn. God knows what they're making there. You know, and it's really amazing. Really is amazing. So that's one spinning plate, right? We need to keep it spinning. We'll hop on to the next subject, which is of course, Tucker Carlson. Now, Tucker Carlson is going to do an interview with Putin. It's going to air tonight at 12 o'clock over here. That would be 6 o'clock US time. And we're going to take a look at what the EU says about Tucker Carlson. The Liberty Report reported on that. Ron Paul and his companion are going to report on that. We're going to take a look at this.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Liberty Report. With us today, we have Daniel McAdams, our co-host. Daniel, good to see you this morning.
Good morning, Dr. Paul. How are you?
Good. Anything exciting happening today?
Very quiet.
Okay. You know, there's this up-and-coming journalist that pops around and moves around television, and he's getting to be better known. But he has a big audience, too. And he's in the news today. This guy, Tucker Carlson. Is that the same Tucker Carlson we used to know way back?
Yeah, in the good old days, yeah.
So anyway, Tucker's in the news, and everybody knows who he is.
Oh, yeah.
And probably the large majority like him because he has a big audience, and he's doing well.
Yeah.
And fortunately, there's a lot of things that he says because we want truth out there. And I think basically he does make a sincere effort to get the truth out and get the information out. But there's risk to this because just getting it out, if it happens to be true, or especially when it's true, it rubs the other side the wrong way. So there will be always some criticism. But overall, he's done a fantastic job of looking for information that they might not get, off the regular television or the mainstream media or anything else. So he's done a very good job. But he's really in the news now. He's over there. I don't know whether he was drinking beer or something with Putin. I wonder if Putin speaks English, do you know?
I think he speaks German. He was.
I don't know about Tucker. But anyway, Tucker's over there to do an interview. They'll probably have some interpreters there to help. But I think he's going to have a large audience to find out what he has to say, because it's like a void out there. What kind of things are going on between our president and Putin? Are they talking about things? Are they trying to, make sure the world isn't blown up next week with nuclear energy and nuclear weapons? No. So we don't hear that. So there's a vacuum there. To feel maybe a little bit of diplomacy. I very often in the past said, why don't we use the diplomats? Why don't they talk a little bit more? But Tucker's over there talking and trying to dig this out. But there's a lot of people.
Diplomats is for wussies, right? We're going to bomb the hell out of you. And then you're going to work with us. What do you think about that? No negotiations. Nah, come on. You're a wuss. What do you want to negotiate about, all right? I am the president. I am the leader. Listen to me. Negotiations. This is not how the American empire thinks, right? We got to bomb Baghdad. We got to bomb Tripoli. We got to bomb Damascus. We got to bomb, this country, that country.
That are resentful of this. It just turns out that the people who are most resentful are in Europe.
Yeah.
But the main issue, I'm sure they're going to be talking about, and why there's a problem like this is because of the Ukraine war. Who's at fault, and that's for other people to discern. But we, of course, talked a lot about it, and we should know about it. But I've always wanted to make our job is to how are we involved?
Yeah.
And it just turns out that in 2014 we were involved and we participated. And I think we have every right and obligation, especially as member of a.
That was what I was showing Victoria Nuland 2014, we were involved. Yeah, of course.
Of Congress, I felt obligated that we have to talk about why are we doing this? What does it mean on our policy? Rather than say there are a lot of fights going on from Africa to East Asian and into Europe, and we always have to pick a side. But generally speaking, we've often picked sides too often. Yeah. So I can see. No significant harm, although people are saying Tucker's over there and that means he's disloyal and unpatriotic, and that to me is just carping and annoying, and I think anytime you can get it. Does that mean that we'll hear from everybody that seeks truth, perfect truth? No, we're all capable of making our errors and all, but I think Tucker's seeking the truth, and he's working on this. So I hope something good comes of it. And the people who are trying to say, well, he's un-American, I would say there's a lot of those so-called un-Americans supporting Tucker right now.
Yeah, I mean, what is unpatriotic is the idea that a journalist can't do journalism.
That's it.
And he's not going over there he's going over there to do an interview. That's what journalists do. You hire a plumber, he fixes your toilet. That's what they do. So this whole idea, this whole freak out over the fact that he's going to interview Putin.
Wait a minute, you hire a plumber to fix your toilet? Really? Echt waar? Moet je een loodgieter gaan vragen om het te laten maken? Echt waar? Vertel iets nieuws. Een journalist mag zijn nieuws niet geven natuurlijk. Nee. Want het gaat om Poetin. Poetin is fout. Poetin is fout. Ja. Eerst was het Saddam. Weet u nog? Oh, Saddam is fout. Oh, die massavernietigingswapens. Bla 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 bla. Daarna was het Gaddafi. Oh, Gaddafi is fout. Bla 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 bla. Daarna was het Assad. Oh, Assad is fout. Bla 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 bla. En nu is het Poetin. Poetin is fout. Bla 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 bla. So there's always an enemy to point out, right? First was Saddam, Gaddafi, then Assad, and now it's Putin, and the next on the target will be Iran, the Ayatollah, right?
Well, who cares? Who cares? He might lie to us. Oh, like our governments, always.
Yeah, but who should really care, sure it crosses everybody's mind, is that journalists sometimes are very vulnerable. Look, it's Assange.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's always some danger in this because the people who don't want to hear the truth can get pretty nasty.
Yeah, and what's really happening here, and we're going to go into it, there's an article that came out in Newsweek this morning, but what's really happening is that people here in the U.S., but especially in Europe, as you mentioned, they're absolutely panicking, the people in power in Europe, because what have they done? For the past over 2 years now, they have completely destroyed their economy, they've gutted their industrial sector, they've destroyed jobs, all because they followed the U.S. foreign policy of a proxy war with Russia through Ukraine. They're the ones that have sacrificed. Germany is the one that doesn't have an economy anymore, and they don't want it exposed. They don't want the European people to see what their policies have done to them. That's why they're freaking out. And go to this next, this first clip. This is Newsweek this morning.
Even people in the European Parliament, which Daniel McAdams is going to tell us about, Guy Verhofstadt, man, that is some figure, man. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, we're going to take a look at this.
Exclusive. Tucker Carlson could face sanctions over Putin interview. They'll sanction anything that moves. A sanction Tucker Carlson because he's going to do.
Ze willen sancties op Tucker Carlson leggen omdat hij in Rusland is. Ja, omdat hij een interview doet met Poetin. Je mag maar één kant van het verhaal horen. Hè? Snap je? There's only one side to the story, not two sides. No. The other side is bad. Bad Putin. Bad Russia. Now, what about Guantanamo Bay? Huh? Guantanamo Bay, what about that? Well, Guantanamo Bay is in Cuba. An American prison in Cuba. You guys are annexing a part of another country, right? Put a high facility prison on it, and then, put these terrorists, so-called terrorists, not everyone is a terrorist that went to Gitmo. So, and then you point a finger at Russia? Really?
Do what journalists do, which is do an interview. I guess it could be worse. Like you say, it could be like Assange. I'm sure they would throw him in jail if they could. But this is from the article. Now go on that next clip. So Carlson's work in Russia could see the former Fox News host in hot water with the EU. Guy Verhofstadt, a former Belgian prime minister and current member of the European Parliament, told Newsweek. The lawmaker, who was called for the EU to explore imposing a travel ban on Carlson, described Carlson as a mouthpiece of former President Donald Trump and Putin, adding, as Putin is a war criminal and the EU sanctions all who assist him in that effort, it seems logical that the External Action Service examine his case as well. So if you...
Putin is a war criminal, right? What about George W. Bush? Huh? What about him? He lied about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. He lied about that. He lied. Millions of people have died because of a lie. I don't see Guy Verhofstadt saying anything about that.
Interview someone, you're a mouthpiece for that person, is what Guy is saying.
Doesn't sound like an adult debate coming up between the people who disagree on the issues of Ukraine and what's going on in Russia and all that. And that's the shame, because that's what we are starved for. And yet everything lately, it's always been there, the demagoguing and the media and the fighting and all that stuff. But I think it's worse than ever.
So we're going to go forward at a tweet that Guy Verhofstadt had made. Tucker Carlson is surely on the path of being labeled a propagandist for the Russian regime. If he enables disinformation for Putin, the EU should explore a travel ban. Now, that has been done before, right? So Tucker won't be the first. David Icke was not allowed to come to the Netherlands. He was banned in 28 of the member states within the EU. So that means Tucker Carlson may not go to Amsterdam or whatever else, You won't see him in London. Well, maybe you will, because, England is out of the EU. So who knows, right? But England is in the NATO alliance, and, it's a very complex situation. And for all the people who don't know Guy Verhofstadt or Guy Verhofstadt, man, that is one figure, man. It's like, oh my God. Check this guy out, right? Here we have Guy Verhofstadt talking about the Brexit. It's very bad, very bad, very bad that you leave the EU. Very, very bad.
Everybody said here we will miss our British colleagues of the Lib Dem, of the Labour. Well, I will not miss the Brexiteers going out. I can tell you, I will not miss them. Dear colleagues, there is a consent to be given by this Parliament, and I know that everybody says and thinks, oh, this consent that will be automatically because like that. We have foreseen that this consent procedure will end in plenary on the 29th of January. But in the meanwhile, there is a problem to be solved. I have received, since the elections in Britain, hundreds and hundreds of letters and mails of British citizens living in Europe, panicking about their statute. I have received hundreds of mails of EU citizens living in Britain, panicking about their statute. And I think we need to solve that first before we give our consent on this Brexit treaty. Why, dear colleagues? Never citizens bring...
I plead Article 5 for the Netherlands. Get out of the EU. You know, this guy is really rampant. You know, it's like, oh man, really? Here. Guy Verhofstadt compares Nigel Farage to Blackadder character. Yeah. So, it really is amazing, you know. He's such a Eurocrat, and he hates the Brexiteers and stuff like that, you know. It really is amazing. So, Nigel Farage had a speech at the State of the Union, and we're going to listen to this here.
I'm pleased we voted to leave. It is clear there are no lessons that are going to be learned from Brexit. It's pretty clear that the EU is getting on with it, and you have already appointed your divorce lawyers. And on behalf of the European Parliament, we've got Guy Verhofstadt. He's the man who's going to be Brexit. And if you were to think of this building as a temple, well, Mr. Verhofstadt is the high priest, a fanatic. In fact, there is only one real nationalist in the room, and it's you. Because you want flags, anthems, armies. You are an EU nationalist. And I frankly think that this appointment amounts to pretty much a declaration of war on any sensible negotiating process.
The source of nationalism and populism is here. We are the source of nationalism and populism. If you defend Europe, if you defend European vision, if you defend European civilization, then accused today to be the source of nationalism and protectionism. Well, I think that people have the impression that their lives is not longer in control anymore.
You see how he's twisting and turning the words? Right? Nigel Farage said, you're a nationalist for one superstate, you know, and now Guy Verhofstadt is like, oh, I'm a nationalist. Yeah, I'm a nationalist. You know, it really is amazing.
By the politicians that they have elected, neither on the national level, neither on the European level. And what they see is terrorism, tax evasion, international crime, migration flows, and so on. And they have the feeling not to be protected against it. On the contrary, they see forces like competition, free trade, as a source of unfairness, as a source of inequality. You see the rise of nationalism, populism, not only in Europe, let's face it. Mr. Trump in the US is another example.
You see, he's such a lefty-leaning politician, man. It's like, oh my God. And we got all these left-leaning politicians in the European Parliament, right? In March, there are European elections. So, you know, it's really amazing. Moet je die gasten zien, Guy Verhofstadt, die zegt van, ja, Europa is het beste. Oh my god, man, serieus. Maar deze gast, die was dus ook in de Maidan. Ja. So, Guy Verhofstadt was in the Maidan in Ukraine. As I've said before, Ukraine is a country split in two. You have the West leaning for Europe. That's why Guy Verhofstadt is in Ukraine. And you have the East leaning towards Russia. Right? So we're going to take a look at this here. Guy Verhofstadt on the Maidan Square.
Many of your people people saying thank you to the European Union, but we don't deserve your gratitude. We have to thank you because you are defending European values and European principles and democracy.
Сьогодні до мене приходило багато людей із вас і дякувало. Але не потрібно мені дякувати, а вам, бо завдяки
This is what they're doing. This is what the EU is doing. It's splitting up the country. We're going to show Ukraine on the map, of course. We laten ook natuurlijk Oekraïne zien op de kaart. En zoals in het Engels gezegd, kun je het land in tweeën splitsen. Het westen kiest voor Europa en het oosten kiest voor Rusland. Dat is altijd al zo geweest. Tijdens de Tweede Wereldoorlog had je nazi's in het westen van Oekraïne. Yeah. So during the Second World War, you had Nazis in the west of Ukraine, right? And communists in the east of Ukraine. It's always been that way. And America knows. They, you know, ze hebben er gebruik van gemaakt. Ze wisten het, dat Oekraïne een zwak land is. En, you know, they abused their knowledge of Ukraine. They knew Ukraine was a country split into two, right? And they abused their knowledge. They put in radicals in Kiev. No, I'm not for Russia. I'm not for Ukraine. I'm for the Netherlands. And my country has become very, very, very corrupt. You know, I'm not even for the cabinet that is supposed to come. Nope. Screw that. Government is not your friend. It's your enemy. So, there's so much going on. So much going on, right? We're going to take a look at Al Jazeera. Let's see what's on their radar. We gaan even naar Al Jazeera kijken. Zo, kijk wat op hun radar is. Pakistan elections. Police officials killed. At least 7. And we're going to rewind here.
Officers have been killed in Pakistan as the general election got underway. The Interior Minister has temporarily suspended mobile services across the country, citing security concerns. At least 28 people were killed in 2 bomb attacks on Wednesday in the southwestern province of Baluchistan. ISIL fighters claimed responsibility for those attacks. So voters in Baluchistan province have been going to the polls despite yesterday's blast.
Voting is our national duty, and everyone should do it. I came here to vote for a better future. The security arrangements are what convinced me to leave home and come to the polls. I urge my brothers to come and vote.
There are security worries, of course, because of the blast yesterday. So there is a worry, but we came out to vote anyway for the sake of our futures. We hope for the best.
Kamal Haidar is joining us now from Islamabad. On this issue of safety concerns, Kamal, I mean, how real is it? Because we're hearing that there's been yet another bomb blast in northwest Pakistan just in the past hour.
Well, those concerns were already there, particularly for the 2 provinces and regions of the 2 provinces, the southern region of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, where those attacks took place on the policemen, many wounded also, many killed, and then 2 killed in Baluchistan. Now, Baluchistan has seen the worst of it. 28 people were killed yesterday. Political campaigning was at a minimal. Horse trading was very high because everybody wanted to woo the local candidates. But the situation in Sindh, Punjab, and the capital Islamabad, quite normal. However, we are now getting reports that Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, this is Imran Khan's party, Their polling agents, they have been kidnapped in Attock district, which is also in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Their polling agents are not allowed inside the polling stations in the Punjab. And Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is saying that the suspension of internet and cellular phone services shows a clear indication that there is rigging going on. However, their leader, Imran Khan, who's in jail, cast his ballot through postal ballot, and he's told everybody that whatever happens, people must exercise their right to vote, and that the fate of the country lies in their hands to ensure that the people are able to go ahead with the mandate that they've been given under the Constitution. So, indeed, allegations, question marks about the fair and free elections, and at the same time a security predicament in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province and Baluchistan.
Okay, so
we know what's happening in Pakistan, right? We know that that they're not really friendly neighbors with Iran. There were missiles shot from Pakistan into Iran, and Iran did basically the same. Ja, mensen, verkiezingen in Pakistan. Hier hebben we Pakistan bij Afghanistan. We weten dat Iran en Pakistan onlangs in een conflict kwamen met elkaar. Het heeft te maken met Soleimani, die Iraanse generaal die in Bagdad doodging. En er was een stoet voor Soleimani en daar kwamen mensen om het leven. En dat werd de schuld gegeven aan Pakistan. En daardoor hebben zij raketten afgeschoten op Pakistan. En Pakistan reageerde terug met raketten op Iran. So, Pakistan and Iran are not very good neighbors, right? We also have Afghanistan with the Taliban in power in Kabul, right? And they are fighting ISIS-K. ISIS what? ISIS-K. It's all in your conspiracy-minded head. It's all in your conspiracy-minded head. Het zit allemaal in je rare complothoofd. ISIS-K, hoe komt hij daar nou weer bij? Die rare Rogier toch. Ja, nepnieuws verspreiden, hè? Nee, dat doen we niet. We weten waar we het over hebben. Hier hebben we ISIS-K, Islamic State Khorasan province. And we're going to take a look at what they actually want, right? So here we have Iran. Here's Afghanistan and Pakistan under it, and Turkmenistan, and another stan. You know, so this is the place they want to make the caliphate. Hier wil ze het kalifaat gaan beginnen in Afghanistan en omringende landen. En ja, dat bestrijdt dus de Taliban. Die is dus ISIS-K aan het bestrijden. Ja. So this is all happening. The Taliban is fighting ISIS-K, and of course it has a lot of consequences for the region, as you know, as you can see with Pakistan, the elections, bombs, 28 killed, 7 police officers, and this and that, you know, it really is amazing. Dus dit gebeurt allemaal, mensen. ISIS-K, de Taliban vecht tegen ISIS-K. En ja, dat heeft natuurlijk veel impact voor de regio. Veel instabiliteit in de regio vanwege dat hele gebeuren tegen ISIS-K. Ja, we zagen dus in Pakistan, een aantal mensen omkomen met aanslagen en zo. En ja, dat heeft ook te maken met ISIS-K natuurlijk. die in de regio een groot regio wil. Ja, we hebben het net gezien, we lieten het zien op de kaart. En ja, dat is ongelooflijk. De mensen zijn hier niet van bewust. En daar zijn we voor RHTVLive. We geven het nieuws. Terwijl het eigenlijk ook gebeurt. Ja. We hebben het ook gehad over de Rode Zee aanvallen. De Houthis. En ook de respons van Amerika en Engeland. We hebben het gehad over Sudan. We hebben het gehad over Ethiopië. Over genoeg dingen. Allemaal geopolitiek met RHTVLive. In de hoop dat er wat geleerd wordt. So, we were talking about all kinds of stuff, such as Sudan, Ethiopia, and other places in the world, because it's one planet, right? And we all have to share it. Ja, we moeten het allemaal gaan delen, dit planeet. We moeten toch met elkaar omgaan, ongeacht hoe of wat je gelooft. So, a lot is happening. We're also going to take a look at another country. Not Brazil. Nope, not Brazil. We're going to take a look at El Salvador. So, what's happening in El Salvador? Very, very large prisons in El Salvador because there was a gang crackdown, right? So, we're going to show the mega prisons in El Salvador, and very, very sad to see what's happened. Well, it's not really sad, but there are innocent people in jail. And we're going to take a look at a video of what's happening in El Salvador. Ja, er is in El Salvador een aanval op de bendes. Heel veel bendes in El Salvador. En die hebben een nieuwe president. En ja, de bendes zijn eindelijk van straat. Want er is een mega gevangenis in El Salvador. We gaan even hier naar kijken.
This is La Campanera. It used to be one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the most dangerous city in one of the most dangerous countries in the world, El Salvador. El Salvador has been known as the murder capital of the world. Just to get an idea, in 2015, the murder rate in El Salvador was higher than any country on earth, and more than 20 times higher than the US. But right now, La Campanera feels downright safe, in large part due to a big police presence.
En apenas 3 años le hemos cumplido el sueño al país de pasar de ser el país de los países más peligrosos del mundo a ser uno de los países más seguros de la región.
Gang-related murders in El Salvador have plummeted to their lowest levels this century, and almost every person attributes it to this man. El Salvador's Nayib Bukele. Since coming to power, his tactics have led to the arrest of a higher percentage of its population than any country in the world, 75,000 people and counting.
Ya no somos los maras o las maras o los grupos delincuenciales o el país de los muertos, sino que ahora somos El Salvador, ese país que ha logrado un milagro total.
Most citizens in El Salvador love Bukele, with his approval rating reaching as high as 92%, and the envy of almost every other Latin American leader, who are now starting to emulate his policies.
Creo que ya está generando mucha esperanza. Cualquier Estado tiene capacidad de derrotar al crimen organizado, que es el principal enemigo de millones de latinoamericanos.
But for some, that miracle comes with a steep cost. civil liberties.
Hay una captura masiva de pandilleros y presuntos pandilleros y hay luego un intercambio, digamos, de esas capturas a partir de la entrega de las libertades.
Antes le temíamos a las pandillas, pero ahora le tememos a la autoridad y eso no tendría que ser. A la autoridad se le tiene que tener respeto, no miedo.
The future of El Salvador and Latin America is at a tipping point. Does freedom have to be the price to pay for safety? In 2019, 37-year-old Nayib Bukele won El Salvador's presidential election, ending a long stretch when only two parties were able to win power.
Y sí, habrá momentos duros, habrá momentos difíciles, pero tomaremos esas decisiones con valentía. Nos toca ahora a todos tomar un poco de medicina amarga.
President Bukele didn't represent the failures and corruption of previous administrations. Three of his predecessors from El Salvador's two main political parties had either been arrested or indicted.
Nosotros somos pragmáticos. Solo hacemos dos distinciones. Quién es buen ciudadano y quién es mal ciudadano. Y el buen ciudadano debe recibir la protección del Estado y el mal ciudadano que enfrente las consecuencias de sus decisiones.
Then, one weekend changed everything.
El sábado se convirtió en el día más violento de la historia de El Salvador.
Y en marzo del año pasado tuvimos algo que nunca habíamos vivido.
Between March 24th and 27th, 2022, 87 people were murdered in El Salvador, allegedly by gangs.
Querían demostrarle al presidente Nayib Bukele que ellos tenían el control. Nosotros decidimos que ya había llegado, que ya no podíamos seguir más.
Queda aprobado el proyecto de decreto que contiene régimen de excepción.
Con ese fin de semana fatídico del 25-26 es que el presidente Nayib Bukele, reunidos con su gabinete de seguridad el 26, se toma la decisión más difícil.
Algunos le han llamado plan contraterritorial, otros le llaman plan de estado de excepción, otros le llaman simplemente plan Bukele.
So there's a Bukele plan, right? And it's been extended for many, many, many months, even years, right? And even innocent people are going to jail. You know, this is when government shows its teeth. We're going to show you a father who has his daughter in prison. We laten even een vader zien die de dochter in gevangenis heeft. Ja.
But victims.
Ella es mi hija, Carla Michelle Mejía, está detenida desde hace 19 meses a causa del régimen.
Voor 19 maanden zit ze in de cel en ze heeft niemand gesproken sindsdien. En ja, dat is heel, heel erg triest. Dit is een van de vele onschuldigen die in de gevangenis zitten. So she's innocent and she is in prison. The government had said you are a drugs dealer or whatever else, you know. They find a reason to put someone in prison.
Y es allí donde me toca que luchar para demostrar la inocencia de mi hija. Lo que les digo es que siempre el régimen ha servido para que la gente se aproveche de.
So it's a good thing that people are cleaning up the streets of gangs, but it's a bad thing that innocent people are also being taken to jail. Ja, onschuldige mensen raken ook in de gevangenis. En ja, dat overkomt deze vader, die zijn dochter al 19 maanden niet heeft gezien. Ja. En terwijl dat gebeurt in El Salvador, whilst that is happening in El Salvador, we're going to take another look at the Netherlands, right? we have PETA, which is an animal activist organization. PETA wants horses out of merry-go-rounds because I have no idea. Beelden van paarden en andere dieren, images of horses and other animals must go away from merry-go-rounds. That says the PETA, the animal rights organization, merry-go-rounds with animal theme are celebrating the uitbuiting, the mistreatment of creatures, you know, creatures with a mind, bewuste wezens. So merry-go-rounds are not allowed to show horses anymore, according to PETA, because that is animal cruelty, right? Het is ongelooflijk. Wat tolereren wij nog als Nederland zijnde? Nederland gaat helemaal naar de verdoemenis. Echt heel, heel erg triest. Ja. En ja, we hebben ook natuurlijk te maken met Pieter Omtzigt. Heel veel mensen zeggen, Omtzigt die wist het even niet meer. Daarom vertrok hij. Nee, hij heeft een inzinking gekregen. Een inzinking. So Pieter Omtzigt is the guy who stepped out of the coalition table, right? We're making a new coalition, and I think he has a mental breakdown, and that's why he stepped out. So we're going to take a look at a very famous Dutch guy who talks about Pieter Omtzigt. And he is very disappointed in Pieter Omtzigt, and we made a mistake. That is what this guy is going to say. Harry Vermegen, ja, bemoeit zich ook met de politiek. En ja, sorry Pieter, we hebben ons in jou vergist. Sorry Peter, we made a mistake in you.
Jongen, wat hebben wij ons allemaal vergist in die Pieter Omtzigt. Ja, weet je nog? Een paar maanden voor de verkiezingen, ja, toen kreeg hij gewoon 46 zetels, weet je nog? Ja, en wij dachten allemaal eigenlijk van, hij is de redder. Ja, hij gaat Nederland redden. Ja, nou.
So he's saying that most Dutch people thought that Pieter Omtzigt is a savior. He's going to save the Netherlands with his new form of bureaucracy, right? And it's all bullshit. They all sell lies. Ze verkopen leugens. En jammer genoeg heb je zo'n Harry Vermegen die zijn faam gebruikt en ook nog achter BBB staat, dan wel achter de VVD, dan wel daarachter, dan wel daarachter. Het is een draaikont die Harry Vermegen. Maar hij heeft wel gelijk. Hier, we gaan doorluisteren.
Vrienden, wat zien we nu? Ja, hij loopt gewoon weg uit die formatie. Gewoon, daar begint het al mee. Waarvan je denkt, die Pieter die moet toch wel de verantwoording voelen van de uitslag van de verkiezingen. En dat Nederland nu echt zit te wachten op heel snel een regering die de problemen van het land gaat aanpakken. Nee, dat voelt hij kennelijk niet, die verantwoordelijkheid. Dus hij denkt, ik loop er gewoon maar uit weg. Nou oké, dat mag dan nog. Maar dan kijken we even naar de manier waarop, vrienden.
So he's talking about the responsibility that Omtzigt has making a new cabinet, and yeah, he doesn't want that responsibility. That's what Harry Vermegen is saying, right?
En dat is dus buitengewoon zorgelijk. Ja, want als je nu ziet de details die loskomen over hoe Pieter er vandoor gegaan is. En loopt gewoon uit de bespreking weg met die andere partijen. Ja, ik ben moe, ik moet even nadenken. Gaat even wat dingetjes zitten schrijven. Haalt wat journalisten in een hotel bij.
So the formation is being done on a secret location, right? Now, Peter Omtzigt is in the formation table. He just stands up, goes out, and makes some notes and goes to the media, directly to the media, not talking to the people forming the new cabinet, right?
Elkaar, gaat nog even snel naar Humberto en stapt dan weer in een taxi, verdwijnt naar Enschede en we zien en horen niks meer van Pieter. Nee, en er wordt nog steeds uitgenodigd daar bij Plasterk, maar Pieter laat niks meer van zich horen.
Pieter heeft een inzinking. Ja, hij beseft dat hij Nederland niet kan redden, want Nederland heeft een groot gapend gat wat de financiën betreft en zoiets. En ja, hij ziet het al voor zich. Pieter zei ook van ja, we kunnen de kiezer niet luchtkastelen beloven. En zoiets. Ja, en dan krijg je een inzinking. Als je ziet wat voor financiële schade Kaag en Rutte en consorten hebben achtergelaten. Ik vind het geen wonder dat hij eruit stapt. En dat hij zegt van ja jongens, dit gaat niet hè. Dit gaat niet. Maar daarmee houdt hij dus wel Nederland in gijzeling. Ja.
Stuurt intussen alleen nog maar appjes naar de partijen en naar de informateur. En dat is dat lijkt wel een puber.
So Peter just walked out, right? Had a mental breakdown and written something on paper and went to the media, as I've said before, and now is at home and gives messages to the coalition partners. Het is onvoorstelbaar, echt. Oh my God. The Dutch politics is in a standstill. Now, we can have new elections, but Parliament needs to decide that, right? Parliament needs to say we cannot make a new coalition. We're going to have new elections. But we can make a new coalition under the left-leaning parties, right? There's a majority for that, but, you know, that would mean Wilders would be out of the game and yet again an opposition guy.
Die niet weet hoe hij het uit moet maken met zijn vriendinnetje. Ja, dat is toch niet het gedrag van een leider, vrienden. Van iemand die Nederland bij de hand neemt en zegt: kom, ik leid jullie door onze problemen heen. En dat je rustig gaat slapen als het land in de fik staat. Of als er hele grote gevaren dreigen. Nee toch? Nee, die Pieter. Pieter, die is goed als politieagent. Pieter, ja. Want hij is nu ook nog eens een keer doodmoe, hè. Ja, doodmoe in Enschede. Al die anderen zijn niet doodmoe. Pieter wel, die kan niet meer. Ja. Dus wat hebben we daar nou aan straks? Vrienden, nee, niet.
Nou, Harry, we hebben ook niks aan jou. Jij bent ook een draaikont. Want de ene keer stem je BBB en dan weer VVD. En we hebben ook niks aan jou. Maar ik mag je mening wel. Dus, maar ja, jij bent ook gevlucht uit Nederland. Van de gekte en zo. Ja, dat vind ik dan toch zwak. zwak. Strijd voor het land waar je geboren bent, of sterf in een land dat je niet meer kent. Ja? Dan ga je niet vluchten naar een ander land. Ik blijf hier tot iedere Nederlander weer zijn vrijheid teruggeeft. Ja. Dan kan je misschien wel zeggen, ja, we zijn toch vrij. We zijn toch vrij. Ze willen Tucker Carlson een ban geven om Europa binnen te komen. Noem je dat vrij? We zijn al lang niet vrij meer, sinds ze de Russische media hebben geblokt. Ja. We zijn de EU-SSR geworden. Ja. Je had de USSR. We gingen altijd naar het oosten kijken en aanwijzen. Oh, die Russen. Die Russen. Oh, those Russians. The Russians are bad. Oh, the USSR is bad. But now we are part of the EU-SSR. Ban one person from going into 28 countries. Because that one person spoke to the president of Russia. Really? Guy Verhofstadt, van mij mag jij weggaan. Ja? Ga jij maar mooi naar Tanzania toe of weet ik veel waar. Ja? Ga toch niet mensen bannen omdat ze een interview doen. Het is een journalist. Je bent niet goed snik, Guy Verhofstadt. Je bent niet goed snik. Net als al die andere politici zijn allemaal niet goed snik. Wil ze een vraag gaan stellen over Oekraïne? Nou, geen vraag gesteld. Geen vraag gesteld. Te moeilijk. Ja, want dan, als je zegt hoe het daadwerkelijk voor staat met Oekraïne, dan is het ineens Russisch propaganda. Russisch propaganda. Serieus. We houden de situatie in Oekraïne al vanaf 2014 in de gaten. Als je RHTVLive lang genoeg volgt, ja, dan ben je precies op de hoogte van wat er allemaal in Oekraïne zich afspeelt. Ja. So since 2014 we put Ukraine on the radar and we have been reporting on what's happening in Ukraine ever since. Right? But all these Dutch politicians, they're like, oh, you're saying Putin's lying and blah 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 blah. No, I'm not. Ik ben niet voor Moskou. Ik ben niet voor Kiev. Ik ben niet eens voor Den Haag. Ja, ik geef gewoon een objectieve beeld van wat er nou gebeurt. En dan gaan we een journalist maar bannen. Omdat hij met een president praat. Oh my god, man. Noem je dat nog democratisch? Nee, de EU is even erg als de USSR. So the EU is just as bad as the USSR. Right? Banning one person. It's like, oh my god, man. You know, go away, Guy Verhofstadt. Ga weg, Frans Timmermans. Word alsjeblieft, doe het in het belang van Nederland. Word buschauffeur. Beter nog, ga achter de kassa werken. Ja? Ga daar zo maar cijfertjes intikken. In plaats van achter die bureau in Den Haag. Ja? Echt waar, man. Nederland gaat helemaal kapot. Maar ja, we zijn erbij en we kijken ernaar en we doen een verslag van. En ja, we proberen ons best te doen. Ook nog in 2 talen. So, who knows, maybe we will get Frans Timmermans as a prime minister and Ben gives all these smileys that are puking. Ben does not want Timmermans as prime minister, nor do I. I am calling for new elections. Ik roep op tot nieuwe verkiezingen. Ik eis nieuwe verkiezingen. Ja. Dus mensen, als jullie meeluisteren, eis nieuwe verkiezingen. Kijk wat het publiek kan doen. Of het de parlement kan overtuigen voor nieuwe verkiezingen. Want zo'n zwakke leider, zoals Omtzigt of Carolien van der Plas of Geert Wilders van mijn part, zijn allemaal eikels, witte boordcriminelen en zoiets. Die geven niet om het belang van Nederland. Nee, die doen het gewoon voor hun eigen portemonnee. Echt heel triest. En dan heb je nog de BBB. We hebben de mensen gewaarschuwd, hè. BBB, Monsanto en zoiets. Ja, we hebben de mensen gewaarschuwd. En het blijkt, we hebben weer voor zoveelste duizendste keer gelijk. Ja. Nee, die Rogier. Toch een rare complottheorist. We hebben de mensen gewaarschuwd. Ja, BBB is CDA light. Ja. Zo heb je Coca-Cola en zo heb je Cherry Cola. En dan heb je vanille cola. En dan heb je andere smaken cola. Ja, nou, dat is hetzelfde als BBB is CDA light. NSC is CDA met een cherry smaak. Of weet ik veel. Vanille smaak of iets in die trend. Nog altijd het oude manier van denken. Nog altijd binnen de doos denken. En daar moeten we vanaf. So, the politicians in the Netherlands think inside the box, right? Not outside the box. And they don't care about the Netherlands. They truly do not care. They want to send our children to war in Ukraine. And they're saying it's our war. Het is onze oorlog. Heb jij de oorlog verklaard aan Rusland? Ik niet. Ik niet. Ik doe er niet aan mee. En als Rusland Nederland wil aanvallen, kom maar. Kom maar, Poetin. Kom maar mooi deze kant op. Kun je al die criminelen daar in Den Haag opruimen. Weg ermee. De Nederlander durft het zelf niet te doen. Dus ja, dat vraag ik me Poetin, hè. Ja. Ze zijn ooit zo bang dat Rusland, de grootste land ter wereld zo'n beetje, dat ze dan Europa gaan inpikken. Serieus? Jongen. Die politici hebben waanbeelden. Ja, Rusland is groot genoeg. Ja, ze hebben genoeg land. Ze gaan echt niet een klein stukje Oekraïne inpikken. En daarna helemaal naar het westen toe gaan en zoiets. Dat doen ze niet. Ze hebben een missie, namelijk de Donbass, Lugansk en Mariupol en al die andere gebieden beschermen tegen de extremisten in Kiev. So Russia does not want to attack Europe, right? They want to protect the autonomous regions within Ukraine against Kiev, against those Bandera radicals in Kiev. Heb je nou opgezocht, Jozef Bandera? Volgens mij niet, hè? Nou ja, dan laten we dat ook even zien voor we gaan afsluiten. Wacht even hoor. Oh, Stefan Jozef Bandera. Ja, nou ja, goed. Dat laten we dan ook even zien. Zo. Hier, Stefan Bandera, Stefan Jozef Bandera. Dus En dit was een nazi. Ja, heel veel Joodse mensen heeft hij vermoord. En zoiets. En hij wordt nou gezien als held. The Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists. Dus nog voordat de nazi's kwamen. Ja, en dan de Tweede Wereldoorlog. Ja. De Duitse nazi's vonden de Oekraïense nazi's erger dan hunzelf. Hier is het graf van Joseph Bandera, Stefan Joseph Bandera in München. Ja, kijk wat dit is. Nou ja. Dus hij wordt gezien als nationale held en heeft eigenlijk ook heel veel Joodse mensen vermoord. Ja. Hier nog een monument. Bandera Monument in Ternopil. Ja mensen, dit gebeurt. The hero of Ukraine, Bandera. And, this is really, really sad to see. And we also have the Canadian Parliament giving a standing ovation for a Nazi, and very, very sad to see. Speaker of the House, of course, did not know. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. We're going to take a look at that. This is almost 2 hours. Well, we could go on for 4, right? So, here we have the Canadian Parliament giving a World War II Nazi a standing ovation.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian-Canadian war veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98. He's a Ukrainian hero, a Canadian hero, and we thank him for all his service. I wish to apologize to the House. No one, including you, my fellow...
No, I'm sorry. I did not know about it. I did not know. I'm sorry. Even I knew. You're a Speaker of the Canadian House, and even I knew. Right? Worth a piece of...
parliamentarians or the Ukraine delegation was privy to my remarks prior to their delivery.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Hello, I'm Tony Hayward, President and CEO of BP. Our accidental drilling spill again in the Gulf is a tragedy that should have never happened. To all those affected, I want to say, We are deeply sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry. We're sorry. I'm deeply sorry. Sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. You're a sorry, worthless piece of... Oh well. Let's see what else is happening around the world. Supermama official went to Casey, Illinois. She showed the world's largest rocking chair. Interesting stuff to see. We're also going to take a look at Bear Britain audits. Let's see if he has a new video clip that we can show. Even kijken bij Bear Britain audits. Ja. So Bear Britain audits is talking about a Scottish kid who was seen as a killer and stuff like that. Very interesting case over there in Scotland, and I believe the kid is innocent, right?
It's being described by police as one of the most violent murders in a generation.
This would have been a bloodbath.
14-year-old schoolgirl killed in broad daylight. Jodie Jones had everything to live for, but her life was cut cruelly short when she was brutally attacked. There was evidence of a struggle. The area was heavily bloodstained.
The evidence is insufficient to say beyond a reasonable doubt that this was Luke Mitchell that committed this murder.
What stood out for me in particular was the lack of scientific evidence against the accused, and the fact that they had other potential line of investigation and they focused on just one person.
Mitchell was convicted and jailed for a minimum of 20 years.
Innocent or guilt, there's something wrong with this conviction.
So that's a very interesting case to watch, right? The frame of consensus was being used. You have a dead girl and a teenage boy found in the neighborhood of the girl, and yeah, he is deemed as a killer. So very interesting stuff that Bear Britain audits shows. We're also going to show this here, unlawful arrest for wearing a pair of gloves. Now, before he started filming, there was a demonstration of Palestinians who were standing at a bus station. Or a train station, I don't know.
But they're protected for when they fall on the floor.
Oh, come on, they're not an offensive weapon. You can buy them anywhere, mate. Seriously, is that what it's been stopped for, those gloves? And you've waited till now to do it?
Protection. What are you going to do with those? They're not Wolverine gloves. They got no knives in them or anything.
I've had 4 guns twice before, that's why.
Wow. He's on a bike as well, take that into consideration.
We all know you're just doing your job.
But in a courtroom, what's going to happen? They're going to be like, it's so if he falls off his bike, he ain't going to mess up his knuckles. So you're wasting our time as well as your own.
So as you can see, he's got a Palestinian thing here, and you know he was at a demonstration wearing those gloves, and the cops thought, you know, this guy's gonna do harm to others, and he was arrested for wearing gloves.
Unlawful arrest! Unlawful arrest! Unlawful arrest! Ian, take his camera, see ya. Wait, this is an unlawful arrest, man.
What are you doing? I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting. I've got a disability. Listen,
What are you arresting him for? What are you arresting him for?
Wait.
You're a sausage, mate.
You're a sausage, indeed. An authoritarian guy, you know, and totalitarian prick. That's what you are. Yeah, I'm just doing my job, huh? Zo gaat het in Engeland. Ja, kom je van een demonstratie en dan word je opgepakt omdat je handschoenen aan hebt. Ja. So, we've been live for quite a time, right? And every live has an end, and we are reaching the end. First of all, we're gonna show Natasha Maeve. It's been a while since we played her songs, and let's see what new songs she has. Can't wait for the summer days. Me neither. Getting cold here.
February 1st, 2024, and it's cloudy again. Come on, I miss the sunbeams, I miss the way the sun gleams. I'm craving summer, I'm a drifter, living in winter. This is my spiritual transistor. The trees whisper, they tell me that I have to wait. They're my elders, so I don't debate. All seasons are beautiful, it's just that, well, let me tell you something about me. I love flowers, I love sunshine, from sunrise to sunset. The hotter the better, I love to sweat. Waking up outside, wherever I chose to rest my head. Being barefoot, everywhere that I go, grounded. I love to wander, and sit in the forest and ponder. Swim in the water. Can't wait for the summer days, so I can be free again. So I can be me again, free again, me again. It's not that I'm not me, it's just there's something missing. I love the carefree living, don't have to bundle up in layers of clothing. The glow on my skin when I'm sun-kissed, the summer breeze when I feel like I'm floating. Don't need a destination, sun's out and I'm roaming. All the trees and plants are happy, everything's growing. The sunshine, we're soaking it up. People are smiling, hearts are opening up. The sunshine, we're soaking it up, soaking it up. People are smiling, hearts are opening up, opening up. Can't wait for the summer days, so I can be free again. So I can be me again. I'm daydreaming, I better go shovel the driveway. The winter can make me feel like I'm stranded. When the summer revives, I'll never take it for granted. It's beautiful, enchanted, to witness everything bloom that was planted. It feels like what I'm going through, and I'm grateful, and I'm candid. It's a fresh start, I love where I landed. But I'm still waiting for the summertime. Some of us were just born to be in the sunshine. Still, there's no winter blues in me while I wait for the summer, no. It's like waiting for my true love. Even the darkest days feel light when you found who you love. Yeah, there's no winter blues in me while I wait for the summer now. It's like waiting for my true love. Even the hardest days feel easy when you found who you love. When you found your true love. When you found who you love. found your true love, when you found who you love. Can't wait for the summer, so I can be free again, so I can be me again. Can't wait for the summer days, so I can be free again. I can be me again, free again, me again.
Thank you, Natasha, for your beautiful songs. And we're also going to show you this. It's also a very cool song. Alex Jones.
The paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find a source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers, scum. They're on giant death factories, keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy, weirdo woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Literal vampire pot and the goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stare at your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good. Oh, they're so sweet.
Oh, they're so sweet. Oh, they're so good. Those Muslims with butcher knives. And this is how you destabilize a country, right? This is not what we want. We are proud of our country for everything that our country has done within all these years. Wij waren ooit een machtig land. Over de hele wereld kenden we Nederland. Wij hadden de eerste economie gemaakt, de VOC. Misschien was het niet al te goed. Maar we zijn een exceptioneel land. En als we nou gaan kijken naar de hedendaagse gebeuren, wat er allemaal gebeurt in de wereld. Het zal me niks verbazen als je in Nederland ook van die mensen hebt met een virtuele bril, die in de werkelijkheid virtueel aan het doen zijn. Ja, het is ongelooflijk. Maar we gaan eventjes hier naar kijken. Het is echt... is dit de toekomst van Nederland? Is this the future of the Netherlands? Right? People wearing goggles in virtual reality whilst they're actually in reality, escaping reality. Ja, ze zitten in de realiteit te ontsnappen, een hamburger te eten, terwijl ze virtueel hier zitten. You see that guy swiping? Is this the future? Is this our future? Who knows? Who knows? We gaan er vandoor, mensen. Ja. Is dit de toekomst? Zullen we dit ook zien in Nederland? Waarschijnlijk wel. Ja, want we doen altijd met de trend mee. En we gaan niet tegen de stroming in. Ja, helaas niet. Maar goed, we gaan er vandoor. Doei doei. En we zien ons